Most organizational change doesn't fail because people resist. It fails because the uncertainty of it is too high for the people who are doing the heavy lifting. When your team or employees can't clearly see and feel the outcome of the change, they won't move toward it. Instead, they'll defend the current state and, in so doing, protect themselves from the discomfort of an uncertain future. It's easy to label that behavior as resistance, but it's not. It's the brain doing exactly what it's wired to do, reacting to the threat or the potential threat posed by that uncertainty. The good news, there is one leadership step that reduces that threat response almost immediately. It lowers fear, builds confidence, and increases the odds of enabling successful, healthy, and sustainable change. So let me show you what I mean. One of my favorite TV shows was Restaurant Makeover. The premise of the show was simple. A struggling restaurateur gives the restaurant makeover team full control of a complete transformation of their restaurant. Everything from what's on the menu to the physical layout. In every episode, about halfway through, the owner is showing the demolition and the chaos of the transformation. That's when the panic sets in. They begin to doubt their decision, and the makeover is at risk of failure. Not because the owner is resistant. They wanted the change, but because they were never shown and they don't know and can't see the completed transformation. In that moment is when most change efforts begin to derail. And the exact same thing can happen in your organization. People don't resist change itself. They defend against that messy middle, what I call the guts of the change, where you can't go back to the old way, and yet the new way isn't clear. And unless you help them reduce the stress of that uncertainty, the brain's threat response system is what's driving their reactions and actions. Productivity drops, trust wavers, and your change efforts begin to derail, often before any real change has been made, making the situation worse than before you initiated the change. So what can you do to lower that uncertainty and enable people to build readiness and move forward with change, even with uncertainty? Create a clear, concise, and concrete intended outcome story. Your intended outcome story is not just a set of goals or a project plan. It's the story of what it will look and feel like when that outcome has been achieved. Why a story instead of goals? Because we don't move through change based on project plans or a set of goals. All of us as human beings move through change based on the story we believe about where we're going and our capability to live that story. We understand our world through our story. We live and act our stories every day. Everything that is meaningful to us is because of them. Your intended outcome story gives people a sense of stability and can provide that counterbalance to the threat response by initiating the reward response of the brain. It shifts the focus from what is being lost to a new destination. Your intended outcome story is not a set of goals or a slogan. It's also not some vague aspiration. An intended outcome story is a clear description of the future you are building, shared in a way that ensures people can see themselves in that story, creates meaning, and makes sense of what it means for them. So it becomes their story. When we help our clients create their intended outcome story, They explore and answer 3 fundamental questions about the change they want to make. First, why is it needed? Second, what will their team, their organization, or their department look like when they have achieved their intended outcome? And perhaps the most important question, what will it feel like to work in that new reality? Uncertainty drops when we can see the outcome. But when we can feel the outcome, we can let go. We can move toward it with greater confidence. Leaders who make space and time for creating, exploring the intended outcome with the people who will do that heavy lifting reduce the uncertainty before it hardens into fear. This is easy to overlook when you're under pressure to move fast. That's one of the reasons our clients find our intended outcome retreats so helpful. Whether it's virtual or in person, they have dedicated time to create the clarity needed to reduce that uncertainty and that panic early. Because it's not speed that leads to sustainable change, it's readiness. And readiness can only be built when people believe and feel clear about where they're going and what's expected. As you think about the changes you're leading right now, remember this. Your barrier to change is not resistance. It's uncertainty. That's why the most powerful step that you can take is to create a clear, concise, and concrete intended outcome story. One people can see, one people can feel, one that makes the destination more real than the disruption. Then allow the time and space for people to connect and align with that story. Because when that certainty increases, the brain shifts out of threat. Capacity returns. People engage and change, and they can move forward. If you're leading change and would like support, I'd be happy to connect. Click the link below and schedule a change strategy call. And if you want to go deeper on creating an outcome story, check out this video on why goals don't work.